Commander Yansu sat in her command chair aboard the massive ship Stellar Harmony. The blue and green planet below them looked peaceful through the large viewing screen. Earth hung in space like a beautiful marble, with white clouds swirling over green lands and blue oceans. "Commander, we are ready to begin first contact," said Lieutenant Hagen from his station. His fingers moved quickly over the glowing controls as he checked the ship's systems one more time. Yansu looked around the bridge at her crew. They had done this many times before. First contact was always the same: show up, display their advanced technology, and wait for the planet's people to surrender. It usually took less than a day. "What are we getting from their broadcasts?" she asked. Communications Officer Minho adjusted his headset and listened to the signals coming from Earth. "The same peaceful messages we have been monitoring for 30 years, Commander. They are sending music into space, art, and messages about peace and friendship. No military communications at all." Navigator Taman pulled up a holographic map of Earth in the center of the bridge. Red dots marked the major cities: New York, London, Tokyo, and dozens of others. All major population centers identified, ready to decloak above them. Yansu nodded. The reports from their advanced scouts were clear. Humans were farmers and simple workers. They had basic technology, but nothing that could threaten a Confederation warship. Their weapons were primitive projectiles that could not even reach space. The xenobiology team had classified them as Category 7, peaceful cultivators, the same category as the gentle tree-dwellers of Kepler 4 to be. "Begin standard first contact protocol," Yansu ordered. "Do cloak above New York, London, and Tokyo. Let them see what real technology looks like." The ship's cloaking field deactivated with a soft hum. Suddenly, the massive vessel became visible to anyone looking up from Earth's surface. The Stellar Harmony was 3 kilometers long, shaped like a gleaming silver spear. Its hull reflected the sunlight like a mirror. Other Confederation ships appeared over major cities around the world. The plan was simple: show overwhelming technological superiority, then wait for the planet's leaders to contact them and ask for terms of surrender. Yansu expected to see crowds of humans looking up in wonder. She expected primitive radio messages asking who they were and what they wanted. She expected fear, confusion, maybe some panic, but ultimately acceptance that they were outmatched. Instead. Warning, alarms began screaming across the bridge. "Commander," Lieutenant Hagen's voice was sharp with surprise. "I am detecting massive energy signatures from the planet's surface. Something is happening down there." Yansu jumped from her chair and moved to the tactical display. The peaceful blue and green planet was suddenly covered in red warning lights. Energy readings were spiking across all continents. "What am I looking at?" she demanded. "Military installations," Hagen replied, his voice getting higher with each word. "Hundreds of them. They are activating defensive systems across the entire planet." The tactical display showed radar dishes turning toward their ships, missile silos opening, fighter aircraft launching from hidden bases, naval vessels changing course toward the coast. In less than 5 minutes, the entire planet had shifted into a war posture. "This is impossible," whispered Navigator Taman. The reports said they were peaceful farmers. Communications Officer Minho was frantically adjusting his equipment. "Commander, I am intercepting military communications. They are speaking in dozens of different languages, but they are coordinating a unified response." Yansu watched in disbelief as the tactical display filled with red contacts. Fighter jets were screaming toward their position from every direction. Ground-based weapon systems were tracking their ships. Even the space stations the humans had in orbit were changing position. "How are they responding so quickly?" she asked. "They already had a plan," Science Officer Kung Ho said quietly. "Look at these coordination patterns. This is not a panic response. This is a practiced military operation. The first wave of human fighter aircraft reached their position. The small craft were primitive compared to Confederation technology, but there were dozens of them. They moved in perfect formation, clearly following pre-planned attack patterns. "Their weapons cannot hurt us," Lieutenant Hagen reported. "Our shields will stop anything they can throw at us." But Yansu was not worried about damage to her ship. She was worried about what this meant. Every other species they had encountered had taken hours or days to organize any kind of response. The tree dwellers of Kepler 44 had never responded at all. They had simply accepted Confederation rule as natural. Humans had gone from peaceful radio broadcasts to coordinated planetary defense in less than 10 minutes. Commander Minho said, his voice uncertain. "I am intercepting more communications. They are discussing capture and analysis of our technology. They want to take our ships apart and study them." Yansu felt cold fear in her stomach. These were not peaceful farmers. These were something else entirely. "Full withdrawal," she ordered. "Emergency jump to deep space. Now." The Stellar Harmony and its escort ships disappeared from Earth's skies as quickly as they had appeared, leaving behind a planet that had just proven it was anything but tame. The Stellar Harmony hung in space above Earth, its crew still shocked by the planet's instant military response. Commander Yuansu paced the bridge, trying to understand what had gone wrong. Every other world they had contacted had been peaceful and easy to control. Earth was supposed to be the same. "Commander," said Science Officer Kyung-ho, looking up from his instruments, "perhaps we should show them what our technology can do. When other species see our power, they usually surrender quickly." Yansu stopped pacing and considered this. The standard procedure was simple: disable a few military targets to prove their weapons were useless. It had worked on 43 other worlds. Maybe the humans just needed to see how outmatched they were. Very well, she decided. Select some military targets. Nothing important, just enough to show them our capabilities. We do not want to hurt anyone. Lieutenant Hagen worked at his controls, choosing targets on the planet below. "I have selected 3 military satellites and 1 radar station. All are isolated and destroying them will not harm any humans." "Proceed," Yansu ordered. Bright blue energy beams shot down from the Stellar Harmony. The beams were precise and controlled, cutting through the satellites and radar station like hot knives through ice. The targets were disabled instantly, their metal pieces floating away into space or crashing harmlessly into empty fields. "Demonstration complete," reported Hajin. "All targets neutralized. No human casualties." Yansu nodded, satisfied. Now, the humans would understand they were facing superior technology. They would realize their weapons were useless and their military could not protect them. Soon, their leaders would contact the Confederation to discuss surrender terms. Instead, every alarm on the bridge began screaming at once. "Incoming projectiles!" Lieutenant Hajin shouted, his voice cracking with panic. Multiple launch points across the planet. The main display showed dozens of red lines streaking up from Earth's surface. Missiles were launching from hidden silos buried in mountains, from submarines deep under the ocean, and from mobile launchers driving across deserts and forests. "How many?" Yansu demanded. 237 missiles launched in the first wave, Hagen reported. "More launching every second. They are coming from every continent." Yansu watched in amazement as the tactical display filled with incoming weapons. The missiles were not random shots fired in panic. They were following precise paths, coordinated timing, and multiple attack angles. This was not the desperate response of a scared species. This was a carefully planned military operation. "Impact in 30 seconds. Announced Navigator Tae-Min. The first missiles reached the Stellar Harmony and exploded against its energy shields. The primitive nuclear warheads created bright flashes of light, but could not penetrate the advanced Confederation defenses. More missiles followed, creating a constant barrage of explosions around the ship. "Shields holding at 98%, reported the engineering officer. "Their weapons cannot hurt us." But Yansu was not worried about damage. She was terrified by what she was seeing. The missiles were not just random attacks. They were testing shots, probing for weaknesses in the shields. Different types of warheads, different approach angles, different detonation patterns. The humans were learning with each explosion. "Commander," said Communications Officer Minho, his face pale with fear, "I am intercepting their military communications. You need to hear this." The bridge speakers crackled with human voices speaking in different languages. But even without understanding the words, the tone was clear, calm, professional, and completely unafraid. "Target shields confirmed active. Nuclear warheads ineffective. Switching to kinetic penetrators. Roger that. Secondary launch platforms are ready. Preparing electromagnetic pulse weapons. All units, this is control. Intelligence priority is now capture of alien technology samples. Repeat, we need to capture their technology intact." Yansu felt her blood turn cold. Within minutes of first contact, the humans were not just fighting back, they were planning to capture and study Confederation technology. They were treating this like a learning opportunity, not a defeat. "They are adapting," whispered Science Officer Kyuncho. "Look at these communication patterns. They are sharing information between military units across the planet in real time." More missiles struck the ship, but now they were different types. Some exploded with electromagnetic pulses trying to disrupt the ship's electronics. Others were solid metal projectiles designed to punch through armor. The humans were already changing their tactics based on what they had learned from the first attack. Commander Minho reported, "They are discussing boarding procedures. They want to capture our ship." "That is impossible," said Lieutenant Hagen. "They have no way to reach us up here." "They are launching something new," Taman announced. "Multiple objects coming from their space stations." The display showed small craft leaving the human space stations and heading toward the Confederation ships. They were crude compared to alien technology, but they were moving fast and in formation. "They built those quickly," observed Kyung-ho. "Those were not there an hour ago." Yansu realized with growing horror that the humans were not just fighting back. They were improvising new weapons in real time. Every species the Confederation had encountered had used the same weapons throughout their entire contact period. Humans were creating new ones during the battle. "Emergency jump to deep space," she ordered. "We leave now." The stellar harmony disappeared from Earth's orbit, leaving behind a species that had just proven they were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The Confederation fleet floated in the darkness of deep space, far from Earth's blue light. Commander Yansu sat in the conference room with her senior officers, staring at the holographic display that showed everything they had learned about humans. The information was disturbing. Dr. Sung-woo, the ship's expert on alien psychology, stood before the group with a grim expression. He had spent the last 3 days studying all the data they had collected about humans over 30 years of observation. "We made a terrible mistake," he began quietly. "For decades, we have been listening to human radio broadcasts, music, art, entertainment, and messages of peace. We thought this showed us what humans were really like." The holographic display showed images of human art, beautiful paintings, peaceful music, and movies about friendship and love. It looked like the culture of a gentle, artistic species. But we were only seeing what humans wanted the universe to see. Dr. Sung-woo continued. Their military communications tell a completely different story. The display changed to show a timeline of human history. Red marks showed wars and conflicts stretching back thousands of years. The timeline was almost entirely red. They have been fighting wars for their entire recorded history, Dr. Sung-woo explained. Not just small conflicts, but massive wars, involving millions of soldiers and weapons that can destroy entire cities. Lieutenant Hajin leaned forward in his chair. But their technology seemed so primitive. Simple projectile weapons and chemical explosives. Intelligence Officer Dong Hayan shook his head. That is what we thought too. But look at this. The display showed detailed information about human weapons. Their primitive bullets are actually sophisticated delivery systems. They can carry nuclear warheads, biological weapons, or chemical agents. They have weaponized everything from tiny bacteria to the power inside atoms. Yansu felt sick as she studied the data. Humans had not just learned to fight, they had learned to fight with everything around them. They had turned peaceful atoms into weapons of mass destruction. They had turned tiny living things into biological weapons that could kill millions. How did we miss this? She asked. Because they hid it from us, replied Communications Officer Minho. All their dangerous military information is kept secret. They only broadcast peaceful messages into space. They wanted any aliens who found them to think they were harmless. The display showed human entertainment, movies and television shows about alien invasions. In every story, humans fought back against superior alien technology using clever tactics and determination. Their entertainment is not just for fun, Dr. Sung-woo explained. It is training. They call it military, science fiction, and war games. For decades, they have been imagining what would happen if aliens like us arrived. They have been planning and preparing for this exact situation. Science Officer Kyun Cho studied the data carefully. These scenarios, they are very detailed. They show humans using guerrilla tactics, capturing alien technology, and reverse engineering weapons. They have been practicing for an alien invasion in their imagination for 50 years. Yansu realized with growing horror that humans had not just responded quickly to the Confederation's arrival, they had been ready for it. Every fast military response, every coordinated attack, every attempt to capture alien technology had been planned in advance. Look at their military organization, continued Dr. Sung-woo. The display showed maps of Earth covered in military bases, weapons factories, and communication networks. What we thought were farming communities are actually fortress cities, with underground manufacturing facilities. They can build weapons anywhere, anytime. The most disturbing revelation came next. The display showed human military doctrine, their plans for how to fight wars. They do not just plan to defend their planet, Dr. Sung-woo said quietly. They plan to win. Their military strategy includes capturing enemy technology, learning from it, and then using it to attack the enemy's homeworlds. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. Every other species the Confederation had encountered had fought defensively, trying to protect their homes. Humans were planning to take the war to their enemies. They are not just another species to be conquered, Dr. Sung-woo concluded. They are a species that has evolved to be conquerors themselves. They have been preparing for interstellar war for decades. Navigator Taemin looked at the star charts on his display. Commander, if they capture our technology and learn how to travel between stars, they will come looking for us. Yansu finished the thought, and they will be ready for war. Intelligence Officer Dong Hayan pulled up more data. There is something else. In their entertainment, humans always win these alien invasion scenarios. Not by surrendering or negotiating, but by fighting until the aliens retreat or are destroyed. They have been telling themselves for decades that they can defeat any alien invasion. They believe they can win, whispered Lieutenant Hae-jin. Dr. Sung-woo nodded grimly. More than that, based on their history and psychology, they will not stop fighting until they do win. This is not a species that accepts defeat. Yansu looked around the conference room at her officers. For the first time in her career, she was genuinely afraid. The Confederation had encountered 43 species during their expansion across the galaxy. Some had fought back initially, but all had eventually accepted Confederation rule. Humans were different. They had been preparing for this war before it even started, and they fully intended to win. Admiral Wu Jin stood in the command center of the Confederation flagship, staring at the reports from Earth with growing disbelief. Despite the warnings from Commander Yansu and her xenopsychology team, High Command had ordered a full military operation against the human homeworld. It will be a simple pacification mission, the High Command had said. 3 battle groups should be more than enough. We used the same force to conquer the last 12 worlds. Now, 6 months later, Admiral Wu Jin was beginning to understand just how wrong they had been. "Sir," reported Ground Operations Commander Hyan Wu over the communication link, his voice tired and stressed. "We have a problem. We are not fighting a normal military force down here. We are fighting an entire planet full of soldiers." The holographic display showed the surface of Earth, covered in red conflict zones. What should have been a quick victory had turned into a nightmare of endless fighting. "Explain," Admiral Wu Jin ordered. "When we landed, we expected to fight their organized military units," Hyan Wu continued. "We destroyed their obvious military bases and government centers, but that just made things worse. Every human city has become a fortress. Every civilian is now a fighter." The display showed footage from the ground operations. Confederation soldiers in advanced armor were moving carefully through human cities, but the cities appeared empty. Then, suddenly, explosions would erupt from windows, rooftops, and underground tunnels. Humans would attack quickly and then disappear back into their hiding places. "They do not fight like normal soldiers," explained Field Commander Junho from another location. "They attack us, then run away. When we chase them, they lead us into traps. When we ignore them, they attack our supply lines." Admiral Wu Jin had seen this pattern before on primitive worlds, but never executed so effectively. "How are civilians obtaining weapons?" "They are making them," Hyan Wu replied. "But not just simple weapons. They are taking our destroyed equipment and building new weapons from the pieces. Yesterday, a group of human teenagers attacked one of our patrols with a weapon that fired our own plasma energy." The Admiral felt cold fear in his stomach. "That is impossible. Our technology is centuries ahead of theirs." "Not anymore," said Junho. "We captured a human engineer 3 days ago. He had completely reverse-engineered one of our communication devices. He understood how it worked better than some of our own technicians." The display showed images of human-built weapons that looked like crude copies of Confederation equipment. They were rough and simple, but they worked. Human engineers were learning to copy advanced alien technology using basic tools and materials. "Every time we fight them, they get stronger," reported Hyan Wu. "Every battle teaches them something new about our tactics and technology. They are adapting faster than we can adjust our strategy." Admiral Wu Jin studied the casualty reports. Confederation losses were mounting steadily, while human resistance seemed to be growing stronger every day. Traditional military doctrine said that destroying a species' military and government would end their ability to fight. But humans had no traditional military structure to destroy. "Sir," interrupted Intelligence Officer Dong Hayan from his station on the flagship, "we have a major problem. The humans have captured one of our scout ships." The Admiral's blood turned cold. "How?" "They used a damaged transport to ram it while it was landed for repairs. The crew was captured alive, along with all the ship's technology." The display showed satellite footage of the captured scout ship being dragged into a human underground facility. Hundreds of human engineers and scientists were already swarming over it, taking it apart piece by piece. "How long before they understand our technology?" Admiral Wu Jin asked. "Based on their learning rate," Dong Han calculated, "they should have basic understanding of our propulsion systems within 2 weeks. Advanced understanding within 2 months. The implications were terrifying. If humans learned to build their own spaceships, they would not just defend their planet, they would take the war to other worlds. We need to end this quickly," the Admiral decided. "Prepare for orbital bombardment of their major cities." "Sir, protested Ground Operations Commander Hyenwu. That will not work. They have moved their important facilities underground. Bombing the surface will just make them angrier. Then what do you suggest? Withdrawal, Hyenwu said quietly. We are not winning this war. Every day we stay, they capture more of our technology and learn more about our tactics. We are teaching them how to fight us. Field Commander Junho agreed. Sir, I have never seen anything like this. When we destroy one of their cities, the survivors do not surrender. They form guerrilla groups and attack us even more fiercely. It is like they become stronger when we hurt them. Admiral Wu Jin looked at the strategic display showing Earth. Red zones indicating human resistance now covered most of the planet. Blue zones showing Confederation control were shrinking daily. How many casualties do we have? He asked. 15,000 dead, 30,000 wounded, reported the medical officer. Human casualties are estimated at 2 million, but their resistance is stronger than ever. The Admiral realized with growing horror that they were not just losing the war, they were creating a more dangerous enemy with every battle. Every Confederation soldier killed taught humans something new about alien technology. Every human city destroyed created more guerrilla fighters who knew how to use captured alien weapons. Prepare the fleet for withdrawal, he ordered quietly. We are leaving. Commander Yansu walked slowly into the great assembly hall of the Confederation High Command. The massive chamber was filled with military leaders from across the galaxy, all waiting to hear her report about the failed Earth operation. She had dreaded this moment for weeks. The hall was silent as she approached the central podium. Admiral Wu Jin sat with the other senior commanders, his face showing the strain of the disastrous campaign. Behind them, holographic displays showed star maps of Confederation territory, 43 conquered worlds, all marked in peaceful blue. Earth's star system was marked in dangerous red. Commander Yansu spoke the Supreme Admiral, an elderly figure who had overseen the Confederation's expansion for decades. Present your final analysis of the Earth situation. Yansu activated the holographic display. Images of human technology filled the air above the assembly, crude but functional. Copies of Confederation weapons and equipment. Honored leaders, she began, her voice steady despite her fear. The humans have successfully reverse-engineered our basic propulsion technology. Our intelligence reports indicate they are now developing space-capable weapons platforms. A murmur of shock rippled through the assembly. The Supreme Admiral leaned forward in his chair. How is this possible? He demanded. The operation lasted less than 1 year. No species has ever mastered our technology that quickly. The humans are unlike any species we have encountered, Yansu replied. They do not just copy our technology, they improve it. They have taken our energy weapons and made them smaller and more efficient. They have studied our communication systems and built networks that work better than our own. The display showed footage from the final days of the occupation. Human fighters were using weapons that looked like Confederation equipment, but performed better than the originals. Human engineers had not just copied alien technology, they had made it better. What is your recommendation? Asked Admiral Wu Jin, already knowing the answer. Immediate withdrawal and permanent avoidance, Yansu stated clearly. This species represents a fundamental threat to Confederation expansion doctrine. They cannot be conquered through traditional methods. The assembly erupted in angry voices. Some commanders demanded a larger military operation. Others suggested destroying the entire planet before humans could develop space travel. But the Supreme Admiral raised his hand for silence. Explain your reasoning, he ordered. Every military action we take against humans makes them stronger, Yansu explained. When we attacked their cities, they learned urban warfare. When we destroyed their military bases, they learned guerrilla tactics. When we captured their soldiers, they learned how to escape from our prisons. Every battle teaches them something new. The display showed a timeline of human technological development. during the occupation. In just months, they had progressed from primitive missiles to plasma weapons, from basic radios to advanced communication networks, from simple aircraft to spacecraft designs. They are not just adapting to our technology, Iansu continued. They are surpassing it. Our scientists estimate that within 2 years, human spacecraft will be superior to our own. Dr. Sungwoo stepped forward to present his psychological analysis. The human mind is fundamentally different from other species we have encountered. They do not fear superior technology. They see it as a challenge to overcome. They do not surrender when faced with impossible odds. They find new ways to fight. The Supreme Admiral studied the data carefully. What classification do you recommend? Hostile adaptive combatants, Dr. Sungwoo replied. Avoid direct engagement. Threat level, extreme. The classification would mark humans as the most dangerous species the Confederation had ever encountered. It would place Earth's star system on the permanent avoidance list, forbidden to all Confederation ships. The withdrawal will be announced. As a completed cultural exchange mission, the Supreme Admiral decided, no member of this assembly will speak of the true nature of this conflict. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Park Min-jun stood before the United Nations Security Council in New York. The massive assembly hall was filled with representatives from every nation on Earth, all united by their shared experience of alien invasion. The aliens have withdrawn, he announced, but they will return. We must be ready. The general activated a holographic display showing captured alien technology. Human scientists had been working around the clock to understand propulsion systems, energy weapons, and communication networks. The technology was being shared freely between all nations. We have learned 3 important things, General Park continued. First, we are not alone in the universe. Second, there are hostile species out there who see us as a threat. Third, we can fight back and win. The display showed human spacecraft designs based on captured alien technology. The ships were sleek and powerful, combining human engineering with alien science. Construction had already begun at shipyards around the world. We will not wait for them to return, the general stated firmly. We will build our own fleet. We will explore space and find other species who might help us. And when the aliens come back, we will be ready to take the fight to them. The assembly erupted in applause. Humanity had learned they were not alone in the universe. But more importantly, they had learned they could defend themselves. The failed alien invasion had not conquered Earth. It had awakened a sleeping giant in the months that followed. Human spacecraft began launching from Earth, carrying explorers and diplomats to nearby star systems. The species that had once been classified as peaceful farmers was now actively seeking allies for the interstellar war they knew was coming. The Confederation had made a critical error in judgment, and now humanity was coming for them.